Go ahead.
We're rolling. We're back for part, what is it, 7? Yeah, we took a 3-hour board meeting and turned it into 6 hours. But that's great, the way that we... I love this, by the way, watching these with you. It's just fantastic, Neal. I want to make a couple comments before we start here. The first comment I want to make is the beginning of this board meeting, the board briefing, the first 4 minutes was blocked out. I was thinking about that, and I think the reason that got blocked out was because, what's his name, the equity guy, John Gardner, made this comment in the meeting where he said that he thought that where is that? Let me see. Andrew Thien, the writer for the Oregonian, picked up on this, and Gardner said, "Where are we? What are we doing here?" Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that Trimet actually intentionally blocked out that segment of the meeting because Gardner made a comment that made him look bad, and that comment was, and this is from the reporter. I'll put it in front of the camera so people can see this. You can't see it, Neal, but I'll read it to you. John Gardner with Trimet said costs of fare is not top reason people aren't paying. Quote,
hold on.
Wait.
One second.
Okay. The vast majority of folks are evading fare because they're trying to chance it. Now, that's from the Oregonian reporter. Okay, that's not from me. Okay, so we know, and he's at the meeting, and he's no reason that he would fabricate that. So I think, and we're getting towards the end of the meeting, and I think that the first 4 minutes of this board briefing was blocked out because that's where that's where Gardner made that comment. And so,
can you just say the comment one more time, real quick?
John Gardner said, "Quote: The vast majority of folks are evading fare because they're trying to chance it," he said. Okay, so he didn't connect it with any kind of economic issue. He said they're all just trying to chance it. In other words, basically they're all criminals. Okay, they're engaging in criminal behavior, and economics is not a factor. So my point is, and we're almost to the end of this. It's only 30 minutes left. I think that's why they blocked out the first 4 minutes of that board briefing, because I bet you that's where he said that. So they took the...
I won't doubt it.
Yeah.
And I think there's some truth to it, because the chances of actually getting done or caught or even getting a warning is infinitesimal.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, people that have, you're making a decent salary, you're not going to waste your time trying to evade the fare, okay? I know from all my years driving the bus that the people that were evading the fares were not the ones. They were the broke ones. Okay, I know that for sure. And
yeah,
yes, they're trying. They're
absolutely agree.
Right.
The people who were evading it could
they want
the choice of almost food or
they want cigarettes, they want Coca-Cola, they want anything but bus fare. Okay, they're going to take that $2.50 and go buy something else because they don't have that much money. And I mean, people that are on SSI, what do they get, $1,000 a month? They don't have any money. I mean, a lot of these people that are riding the system are on SSI or on disability, and really the lowest strata. So, and I
don't know whether you noticed it, but I can always tell when the Social Security checks or the
right. It's all they all come out. They get their money.
All came out. They're all heading to the store because they got some money.
Right, that's right, and that goes on for a few days after the 1st and the 3rd.
Right, and then after that, it just falls off the middle of the month, and all of a sudden, it's a predictable cycle.
Yeah, so if we don't hear him say, we've watched every minute of this, me and you. So, we haven't missed anything. So if we don't hear him say that between now and the end of the meeting, they took the sound off, and I think that's a serious thing that a government agency should not be able to. I mean, they're basically altering information there. Okay, that's a significant.
They're redacting what they don't want to hear.
Yeah, they're redacting it, and they have no right to do this. But that's my theory. Let's see if he says it at the end of if that comes later.
And by the way, this is just the same quote. This redaction process takes place when Doug the Desk, the head of Trimet, quote, attends all these meetings which are never recorded.
Right. Yeah, right. No, right. There's no library of I was just commenting on the Twitter feed today that, you know, the phony Max Alignment Committee, which McFarland's part of, all voted unanimously to put it on Barbara Boulevard, and in the news release it said we got over 1,000 comments, but we can't look at the comments. They're nowhere to be found. So we don't get to see what the public had to say. All we get to see is what the technocrats have to say. And of course...
And they sort of learned their lesson when they had named the bridge contest. You know, when the votes got tallied up, it wasn't Tillicum.
Yeah, right. That's right. And I remember when we looked into that, and I had, was it Joe Rose? It was Joe Rose at the time. I mentioned to him, can you find out about that? And he did. And he did find out about it. And it turned out that it was, what's his name? The trumpeter. I'm getting old. I can't even think of his name.
The who?
The guy, the trumpeter on the bridge.
Oh, yeah. With the Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, he won the contest.
Right.
But, you know, he was never... So they were exposed for their fraudulent bullshit. But, you know, I don't know how many people actually realize that they defrauded the public, because people aren't paying attention to this material like we do, okay? The public has no idea what's going on. They don't pay attention to this. And that's...
You know, and I'm going to just lament, and it came to me the other night, is that you and I have been talking about, since we have gotten together to lament over this process of Trimet and the board of directors, that hundreds of $1 million have been approved by these people.
Billions. It's billions.
Yeah. And I was thinking, I've had kids, and my son has two young ones, and the other one, the youngest granddaughter came in the other day. I want to go to Fred Meyer's. I got money to spend, you know, from her allowance.
Yeah.
And which got me to thinking that, and I said, what do you have to do for that page? Well, I have certain things I must do every day, and my mother makes sure that I do them correctly and follow through. And I mean, that's close quote from a 5-year-old. And I'm thinking, parents and myself, and probably these board of directors with their own children, have asked more questions, put more guidelines, demands upon their own children receiving maybe a $5 a week allowance than they have asked questions of people who are asking to spend billions.
Right.
I mean, if you put the same standard to it,
well,
my wife the other day said, and all the time you've been watching these over the years, Neal, have they ever disapproved anything?
No, not since I've been watching since Fred Hansen days. So,
yeah, and so have I. And I just said, well, I can think of, Dr. Bethel and maybe one vote, but that, that's not going to change the course of the decision. And
no, we know the board of directors is appointed specifically to support the Trimet general manager. That's their role, is to provide support. They're not there to question anything. They're there for the general manager. And anybody that thinks otherwise has no idea what's really going on. They're not there to question anything. It's just like that bridge, the light rail committee. They're not there to ask questions. They're there to legitimize the technocracy And this is a closed system here, you know. And I'm sure they've been instructed in that when they're taking this position, you know. Because don't forget, government views the public as its enemy and the masses as ignorant. You know, generally speaking, and the masses are to be controlled and manipulated. They're not to be actually taken seriously. And there's been multiple studies by the Brookings Institution that what the people want and what the government and the plutocrats want are two different things, and the plutocrats get 99% of the decisions that they want, and the public gets 1%. So, I mean, there's a total disconnect between government policy and citizens, and that's at every level, from Trump on down, all the way to this.
Yeah, by the way, Business Day, New York Times, this last Monday, which would be the 6th, cost to bids to lure Amazon, see example at right. Page after page of redaction, and I'll just read this one small quote from the article. With so much secrecy in the bids that involve unelected officials making promises that the risk to taxpayers and civic leaders will be forced to accept the proposed terms or live with turning it down. In other words, they don't even know what they're approving.
Yeah, right. And that's government in general. That's the way it works. I mean,
and they show 1, 2, 3, like 10 pages of the proposal, and the only word that you can read on the entire 10 pages is Appendix C, additional incentives.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, this is sort of like what's going on. It's exactly.
It is. It's exactly like it. Yes, it's exactly like it. It's the same. This process that we're watching here is exactly the same at all levels of government, and that's why I'm fascinated with this, because it's a microcosm of government in general, and how it's serving these elite interests and ignoring the interests of the people. I mean, obviously, with transit, what we need is a reliable system, which means, 10 to 20 extra board drivers that have to be around at all times for disruptions, sufficient mechanics to keep this equipment moving. They just do what we have with American public transportation is this horrible, unreliable system, and it's not just Trimet; it's everywhere.
I mean, when I drove the extra board, almost 20 years ago, what we did, there was enough drivers that we didn't sit at the garage. We were at our buses. Some was stationed out in Beaverton, some were stationed out in Gresham, some were stationed downtown. So depending on the disruption or where it was, we were ready to roll.
Right. That's how it should be. That's not how it is now.
And that doesn't really happen that much anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Because there's not enough equipment, let alone enough operators.
Yeah, they don't even have enough drivers to fill the runs, from what I understand. There's still... And that's around the country. That's everywhere, not just Trimet.
And the same with Trimet. There is no place at times to store the extra trains other than the yard.
Yeah.
If there's equipment to be even taken out and traded out.
Right. Yeah, no, there's an equipment shortage, an operator shortage, a mechanic shortage, lots of executives, lots of managers, lots of middle managers, and the transit system is not reliable enough to actually take it seriously. It worked okay Monday through Friday during business hours. It's very bad at night and very bad on the weekends, especially the bus service. Okay, the light rail at least is more reliable than the buses, especially on the weekends. But Trimet ridership has been going down, which is proof of failure. That's the proof you need. All these talks and whatever, they've been failing at their mission, and that can be proven by the ridership decrease. Nobody's riding it. I mean, the population's going up and the ridership's going down. So it's failing its mission, but the people in charge don't care about the mission. Their mission is to keep the money flowing. It's not the same as riders' mission. All right, let's get moving.
Slide looks at the issue of geographic variation and stops, and so does there appear to be any particular stops that might be generating a much higher proportion of racial ethnic stops? And this table breaks down the locations where the 50% of all stops on the MAX occur at these, I think it's 10 locations listed in the table. And then it explores, are there any unique racial ethnic variations between people being stopped at these particular locations? And there really isn't. There isn't anything above that 5% threshold, or much larger percent differences to consider or be concerned about. The next slide involves the second baseline test to explore the possibility
this is just the same thing. Let's move it along. Oh, you okay to move it along?
Outcomes.
Oh, I mean, he's
male or female.
He's, as I said in the last episode, he's basically his 7-8 years of doing this is based on a faulty premise. So.
Yeah, so I mean, we're watching him. Nobody really understands what he's talking about.
Right.
I'm sure.
The thing that I must hand it to it is that he's consistently using inaccurate data, and he keeps coming to the same result.
Yeah, right.
What I think is perhaps the most interesting, important issue to come out of this update to the research following the same methodology, but this time I kind of dug into what's driving exclusions is this notion of people who are chronic exclusions. Is it that these individuals are sort of becoming, regulars? So when they're on the MAX or on the MAX platform, inspection officers know who these people are, etc.
Yeah,
and so I think there's some important policy discussions
I bet you they do.
to be had around what to do.
Let me digress here.
Okay.
His data is skewed over the last 2 years because of two things. For a while there, Trimet management sent out the word, "We do not write anyone up on anything. You keep it to an absolute minimum, or you will be written up for writing up."
Really?
Okay. That strategy didn't appease anyone. It appeased a lot of people who said, you're biased and you're writing too many tickets. But when things really started getting out of hand, because the bad guys know they're not writing anything, we can get away with absolutely as much outrageous behavior as we can get away with. No consequence. So the pendulum went the other direction within the year. You write everything, and no warnings. No warnings.
Yeah, I remember.
So for this man to base his data without realizing the directives that are coming above, let alone...
That's a great point.
He's basically... I hate to tell it, but he wasted his time. But,
well, no, he gave them what they wanted, which was
right. They gave him what they wanted, and his pocket.
Yeah, and you see this in everything that Trimet contracts out for studies. They always come back in Trimet's favor. And he just gave them what they wanted to hear, and that's what they wanted to hear. And here it is. You see this over and over at these meetings. I remember when they had somebody evaluate the public records process, and of course it came back all good. And somebody asked them, "What did you ask any people who were use the public records process?" And they go, "No." So I mean,
and they didn't ask me because I was denied 5 times.
Yeah, they didn't ask anybody that used it. It was all based on
well, you didn't fall into the parameters, so I actually had the union attorney keep drafting it. And the 4 request, we got it down to, I need it. It was on a Tuesday, you know, that it was written on a IBM Selectrix, and you know, no such document exists. And in my case, I said, I know the document exists because I talked to the man in New York City that was hired by you who wrote it.
Yeah, they do that, don't they? Yeah, you know, it's it's such a farce, man. It's
continuing to cite them and exclude them doesn't seem to be solving the issue.
No.
Well, my God,
my
he
final
hit
thought.
the nail on the head on that one.
yeah, at least got that one right.
But
Okay, here, let's hear what
thank you.
For the presentation,
Yeah.
actually, Director Gonzalez, I believe we had his card up first.
Thank you, Director Stovall. I would love to be brought up to speed. I thought I'd get it by the end of the presentation, but for my sake and perhaps others, could you help me understand exclusions? I know what a warning and a citation is, but what is actually an exclusion?
He doesn't know what an exclusion is. He's asking what is an exclusion.
I'll share just the legal definition.
So an exclusion is typically an elevated enforcement tool that's used to issue
I mean, that's pretty sad that he doesn't even know what it is. That just tells you the whole... They just walk into these boards, they're in charge of the Trimet, but they don't have no knowledge about Trimet at all. And so, I mean, it just delegitimizes the board completely when you hear these questions.
an exclusion.
Like somebody said, what I remember, I think it was this woman here, she goes, what was it, I forgot what it was.
A mirror strike.
Yeah, right, that was it, right.
I think it was the other lady.
This
on
one
the
here?
other side.
This one?
Yeah, it was one of them. I mean, it's
Yeah. What is a mirror strike? I mean, for crying out loud. And they're not newbies. They've been on the board for a while now. So they have no idea about what the reality of the operation is. So it just delegitimizes them even further when we hear these things. We already know they're delegitimate, but when you can see it in real time, it's even more proof.
To a person for either 30, 60, or 90 days from the Trimet system, and they're prohibited. Once that exclusion goes into an effect, they have a period of 10 days to appeal that exclusion, and we have an appeals process. And then during the exclusion goes into...
This alone is a farce. Okay, so there's a 10-day period.
Right. I know that.
So in that 10 days. I can't tell you because you know this is true because you've listened to the
scanner
transmissions that they commit 2 or 3 other offenses.
Right, they do.
and within that 10 days, and the dispatcher or the controller says, "Well, they're going to be excluded, but it doesn't go in effect for another 12 hours."
Yeah. Yeah, no, the chronic, the chronic fear evaders have no fear of this system.
So the officer or the person running it says, well, do I write another one and tack it on to the other end so this one can run concurrently? I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
What good does it do?
Right,
now, the
none.
only analogy I can tell you that makes this the way they're doing it, and it's been going on for years, is... If you get pulled over by an officer, okay, and you're driving your car, and he gives you a sobriety test, and you happen to fail that, do you think he lets you get back in the car and drive home, and, in 10 days, let me know how the citations there, you could appeal it? No, you're going to jail, or you're not getting back in the car. Here, we're letting them go back and do the same crime or whatever all over again with no consequences.
Yeah, it's a little bit different situation than drunk driving, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but what I'm just saying is the process keeps going and over, and if the guy on the right did the study, he would probably tell you, this is not very uncommon. This is, for the 500 people that we keep repeating, that this is a common practice for them.
They don't think otherwise. They don't care, basically. They don't care. I mean,
Right. And I do not have the answer of what to do with that.
I don't either. I give them a honors, give them one of those low income passes or something. I mean, it's public transportation. I don't know what to do with it either.
And my question would be similar to the departed board member. Can you give me some information, maybe with somewhere else and what else some other transit agency is doing? And someone has probably addressed this issue.
Yeah.
Maybe could come up with a better solution that we have come up with, which is no solution.
Well, they probably eventually they put him in jail for 10 days or something. I mean, but these people are they're institutionalized into the justice system. They don't fear jail. Okay, to them it's nothing. You're thinking about normal people who have jobs and bank accounts aren't going to engage in this over and over. But the segment of the society that has nothing. No credit, no job. They are in and out of jail constantly. To them, this is a joke. Okay.
Well, and actually, I'm getting showered, fed, 3 meals a day, and some medical.
Right. They don't mind going in for a week or two. I don't know what they get. I don't know. I don't know how long they give them for jail for this stuff.
Well, the only one I have ever heard that served a whole long time, 18 months, was Angie.
Oh, but that was because she attacked one of she actually attacked. She jumped up on the car and hit. It wasn't fair evasion that got her in jail. It was.
But I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's probably got the longest computer record of anyone.
I wouldn't be surprised. She recently got excluded from the streetcar, by the way. Within the last week or two. Yeah.
Heaven forbid the city gets into rickshaws. She'll probably be excluded there too.
Yeah, but Angie's a good example though, because Angie is a marginal citizen in the sense her IQ is probably 60. Okay, she doesn't have any brains really. I like Angie, but I mean honestly, you're dealing with a marginal citizen there, who has no understanding of what she's doing and the consequences, and at times I don't even think what she's doing is No, right? It's not.
Is malicious.
No, she used to ride with me all the time, man, and I even went to a hearing with her once, and they threw out the citation when I was with her that one time. No, it's not malicious. She doesn't know what she's doing. That's the thing. She's developmentally disabled. So, I mean, she has no ability to understand the consequences of her actions. And so this is why she keeps repeating these behaviors. Because she can't connect the dots, Intellectually, she can't do it.
They are prohibited from being on the system for that set time period.
Thank you.
Dr. Simmons?
I mean, let's be honest about some of the people that are on the system. Trimet is a rolling social club for a lot of people. People spend all day on that transit system.
Yeah, I call it a rolling homeless shelter.
It basically is, and it always has been. Public transportation has always been that way. That was one of the things that Trimet, when they first started the transit-oriented development scam, they were trying to make transit appealing to what they call the choice riders, okay? Because they knew who takes transit. It's the undesirables, okay? But they were trying to get the choice riders. That was one of the things they used to market their MAX system.
Right. And you haven't heard that idea or campaign in years.
No, right. That's gone by the way, yeah. Interestingly enough.
How many air inspectors does Trimet have?
That's a decent question.
Harry's still here.
I guess the point I'm
looking for
trying
Harry.
to make, rather than the actual number, is it's significantly low. You can there are parts of the max line.
What? There's only 3? There's more than 3. What are you talking about? There's a lot.
You have to listen to her question. Her question was, how many fare inspectors That department was completely dismantled many years ago. Gary Redford just retired. I think Takey. So there is.
That's true. That's right. I remember.
Yeah, so the actual quote number of fare inspectors is 3.
Okay,
left.
You're right. I forgot about that. But they do use road supervisors.
And yet TriMet uses the term to cover their tracks, the term code enforcers.
But
which now includes supervisors,
right,
whether they be bus or rail.
Right.
And now they're requiring them, or have been on and off for years, to do, quote, 1 hour of fare inspection. Well, let me put it this way. A rail supervisor, if there's a problem, he needs to be able to hop in his car or hop on a train to get to where the problem train is. Right?
Right.
But if he's engaged in a situation dealing with fares or code problems, quote unquote, where is he? He's tied up. He can't go do his primary job.
Haven't they increased the number of white shirts over there?
Yeah, but it's there's still not enough. At the end of the night, between, at least when I left, between Gateway and Cleveland, from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning, guess how many supervisors?
Oh, yeah, like 3, right?
Oh, yeah, including the airport.
Yeah, like 3.
Guess how many supervisors?
3.
1.
There's only 1 for the entire system?
Yeah, at that hour.
Oh. Really? So there's nobody, in other words.
Yes, so he's covering from Cleveland to Gateway and from Gateway to the airport.
Yeah. Yes.
You know,
that's really unexcusable. Well, hundreds of millions of dollars for Southwest Corridor, but they can't have supervisors on duty. It's inexcusable. It's another. You just illustrated one more example of the failure of the management here, because they're prioritizing hundreds of millions of dollars for this shit over here. Meanwhile, they got one supervisor for late nights. It's ridiculous.
And that might have changed in the last, I've been gone now 18 months.
Okay.
But, I wouldn't bet that it would be.
They maybe have more. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know whether that shift changes but that situation has been going on for years, and not only has the supervisors complained about it, but, as rail operators saying, yeah, great, the supervisor will be with you, you'll be there in 40 minutes, because he's coming from the airport.
Yeah, right.
And let me put it this way, the other problem that is, at 10 o'clock p.m., the witching hour is for most of the G5, G-Force. They leave. They're done for the day. Okay?
Uh-huh. Oh,
ready?
Wow. When?
Now we get to 11 o'clock at night, right?
Right.
Guess who's leaving now?
Who?
The transit police.
Oh, the transit police are even leaving?
They're leaving at 11 because they got to get back to quote, wherever their headquarters are for that particular unit, and write up their report so they can be done by midnight.
I see. Yeah, you're right. I do remember hearing calls late at night, and they have to send regular police.
Okay, so now that leaves the Portland police. Now, if you've been following that for the last year, Portland policemen, one patrolman is now covering 3 areas that used to take 3 policemen. He's now covering 3.
Really? I didn't know they were that short. Is that
so where? Yeah, and Mayor Wheeler said, well, we're going to hire more. Well, the problem is They have the same problem of hiring more policemen here as they are across the country. Who wants the job?
Right. I don't know. They make good money now. They're all six-figure jobs as police.
Right. I mean, but
I mean, it's a shitty job.
A lot of these candidates can choose. You know, I like to live at the beach. I bet you they need an officer down there.
Yeah. They pretty much can go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
It's sort of almost like a health professional.
Yeah. Right.
You write your own ticket.
Right. Police do. Well, they are the elites of the working class. There's no doubt about that. Of course, they have to. The plutocracy has to give them what they want, because without the police, the plutocracy's got no clothes. You know, so they have to let them make money. They're the barrier between the rabble and the plutocrats.
So what I just cited as far as hours of where all these people are going might have changed in the last 18 months, so don't hold me to...
Yeah, okay. We don't really know. Yeah.
But that has essentially been going on for the last 8 or 10 years.
Right. Okay, I didn't...
And if you're not sure about it, ask Harry.
Mm-hmm. I thought the police were trying to add more police from what they have now. That's what I was reading, is they want more police.
But they when you add, I don't know what the actual transit police number is, but you have to understand that they're covering 600 square miles of transit.
Yeah.
Buses, 7 days a week, 24/7. They have to have people, AM shift, PM shift. People have to have days off. So when you get it, the numbers down, you're not probably having more than four or six people working a day, covering each shift.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's
and most of these guys do not show up to any of these incidents alone.
Right. That's right. No, they always come with a group. They're like a gang.
I mean, I've been in a situation where a riot is breaking out at Lloyd Center, and you see the officer drive by, and you can hear on the radio says, "I ain't getting out of my car until I'm not going in there by myself."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. They always do show up in packs, don't they?
So I mean, and you can't blame them.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm not a big advocate of the police, but I do know they're dealing with some very violent situations occasionally. They should be dealing with finding criminals instead of dealing with fare evasions. Okay. Anyway, let's move along.
You would never see a fare inspector. So it's not a flaw of your research, but really a comment that as Trimet does more fare inspection in the future, you will maybe see this data skewed differently, because right now we're really not checking the fare of very many people. So it's really, the data you're providing is representative of the areas in which we historically have been checking fare.
She's right, isn't
since we don't check fare in some parts of...
She's right about it. That's correct, isn't it, Neal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're...
Yeah, no, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very astute. I'm impressed.
System. So it's more realizing that this is...
But they do fare missions on the west side. They do it at Goose Hollow, where people they have to get to the Sunset Transit Center. So there they are. They've done it at the Sunset Transit Center when they've gone in both directions. So each side of town is had fare missions. But they pretty well know if...
Well, what is it? I think, what is it? The 5% get checked or something, whatever the number is. It's a small. Of total riders, The number that get checked is something like 5% or something.
Oh, well, the number that gets checked is infinitesimal.
Yeah, it's small. It's very.
It's very, very.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
The TriMet is admitting to a 17% roughly fare evasion, and the actual number is probably twice that.
Yeah. I don't know, but you may be right. Yeah.
So the number you're actually checking is extremely small.
Right.
Data you had to work with is a very small subset of what I think we're going to find as an agency when we start enforcing fare throughout the whole MAX system.
Oh, look.
Maybe I can comment on this one. I totally agree with you. My experience in other transit agencies is our fare evasion here is too high.
Right.
Structurally. And we are underinvested. We look at Dallas, we look at other cities, not necessarily policing, but fare enforcement. I think those words are important. It's not a policing side. And we're, I think if you look at Dallas, for example, they have about 240 officers out on the system. We've got about 60. For somewhat of a similar size. Their dynamics are more longer-term commuting by nature. I think through the work of PPI, through other enforcement mechanisms that we're working on, I think low-income fare is going to contribute very positively to this.
Absolutely not.
To me, is fair.
No.
No. The low-income fare will not make a dent in the fare evasion.
You don't think, huh?
I'll put money on that. In the long run, you won't see much of a tick.
Yeah.
Because those who are evading fare, it's not a matter of how low. It's I want it for nothing.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I agree with you there.
The subset that they're talking about, the chronic ones.
Oh, the chronic ones are not going to change. Yeah.
They're not going to change.
The chronic.
Having a low-income fare is not going to do it.
No, but
it
will make it easier for some people. Will take advantage of that. They've already signed up 1,500 people.
I'm not saying that. We're right now up to 1,500.
Yeah, which is nothing.
Maybe,
yeah, right.
We got a long way to go.
Yeah, there's 200,000. Somebody did a research on.
I mean, even their own numbers, they're saying it's a potential of 45,000, and we're only at maybe 1,500.
And there's actually 200,000 people that could use it.
Right.
So their projections are very low.
And my other question is that they have known for years, before the red line was even built, before the green line was built, before the yellow line was built, before the orange line was built, that fare evasion was a problem via, quote, an open system. Yeah. So what do you keep doing? You keep building platforms that are encouraging.
I thought they were going to have closed platforms with the orange line. They didn't, did they? They said they were going to. They did say they were going to. They said they were going to.
Essentially not done. TriMet has not done anything to mitigate the problem.
No.
But to actually exacerbate the problem.
But that's part of my theory on government. It's actually an entrapment system where they want people to do this so they can use that as an entrapment method. I believe that. Okay, they don't care. First of all, this guy doesn't care about fares. Okay? He's making $300,000 a year. He's going to walk out of here with a huge pension. He doesn't give a shit. Okay, he's pretending he does, of course. And as an agency, the fares are nothing. Okay, we just watched all of the pork barrel capital projects in the hundreds of millions. So it's nothing, but it's some kind of a population control methodology here. So they're talking about it, but we know that actually they don't really care about it. They don't really give a shit about it, other than using this as some kind of a wedge issue or something. I'm not sure. Well, they've created this here. Walk right on. Okay, they've done nothing to try to. That's where you need to start the changes. Is make the goddamn system a little harder to walk onto. You know, at least you have to show something to the driver. Okay, you don't have, it doesn't have to be valid, but at least you have to show something. Okay, the max is nothing. Just walk right on.
I know it's.
Yeah, I mean, when you fare evade on the bus, at least they have a button to push. But the max is nothing. You know, yeah, just get on. There's nobody there. You know, you got a 1 out of 100 chance of getting stopped. Jeez.